We've got time yet for greeting. If it says we start on time, it's 10:30. I'm going to try to go ahead and start. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity Center Stockton. So grateful you are all here. I'm grateful for the people that are joining us on live stream or will watch us later, proving that time and space are just a construct in our mind. I'm Susan Dyhep. I haven't said this aloud yet, but I am, once again, your board president. Thank you. Thank you. So we have a great Sunday planned for you today. As you may know, Marianne is in Hawaii, and will be back with us next Sunday. And joining us is Reverend Mitch Austin. So this is Mitch's third Sunday with us, but let me just share a little bit about him. He is a spiritual living licensed practitioner since 2012. And he has a practice called Spiritually Speaking with Mitch. And there's a website that tells more about him. He has been a licensed minister through Emerson Theological Institute, and he speaks at spiritual centers. He forms Speak, Teach, Inspire, which includes spiritual counseling, the Rise and Speak Academy, and other self-improvement classes such as Taming Your Inner Critic, Empowered Communication for Spiritual Principle, and Eat, Pray, Live. And Taming Your Inner Critic workshop sounds really exciting, like something we might invite to have him do here in the future. Let your voices be known. We want to know what you want for our spiritual community. He came down from Sacramento, so welcome, Mitch. Also joining us, familiar face, Leilani. And our awesome sauce sound engineer, Glenn Gomez. And Willie Smith has stepped up his greeter duties because you will notice, resurrected from the depths of storage mystery, we have name tags once again. Such an exciting thing. All right. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. How about a song? So let's stand up and sing our first sing-along.
Oh, yes. Okay, I need my drummer for this. We actually have a guest drummer, everybody. He's going to play on a book. Bring it up just a few. This let's clap along. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Jazz hands.
Beautiful. All right. So let's just take a collective breath in and just releasing, letting go. As I go within to the innermost chamber of my being, that place of pure spirit, the spirit within and throughout all things. I give thanks for this spirit that lives us, breathes us, and goes out before us and prepares the way. And I know as today's service unfolds, it unfolds in the heart and the love of the divine presence, in the wisdom, through the music, through the prayers, through the message, and through the power. Each and every heart inspired, every mind opened for a deepening in our walk with the presence on this beautiful day that God has made, the grand organizing designer, bringing us here in community, in love, in faith, in power, in grace. And so I give thanks for this divinely appointed day and each and every person present here and online, knowing that the light of God is shining in and through and as every one of us. And so I just give thanks. I give thanks and I let go, I let good this day, and I let God. And together we say, and so it is.
So let's hold in that consciousness of our divinity within. And we'll say our February affirmations. Inner peace together. I relax and breathe in the peace of God. And for guidance together. As a creation of divine love and wisdom, I am guided in all that I do. The affirmation for healing together. My body is energized by the healing life of spirit. And for prosperity together, I am a channel for the flow of abundance. And for world peace together, open to infinite love, I practice peace. Awesome. Thank you. I'd like to thank Deborah once again for blessing us with flowers. And this is your chance to greet each other. Unless you're drumming on a book, that's drum management. I suppose there's a mom out there that's thought about that one. So good morning again. So for announcements, I invite you afterwards to have a banana nut muffin and a cup of coffee in our incrementally progressing, but a big increment, little space over there. And thank you all that use muscle and sweat and spiritual power to make things happen, because things are happening here. Things are happening here. So as I read the daily word, there's a lovely affirmation within the daily word. And I'm just gonna, when we get to that point, I'm gonna give us a little pause and that we can savor it together, because collectively we bring that consciousness and we meld it and make it more wonderful together. So today's daily word, faith. I carry my faith in God with me throughout the day. I keep my faith at the forefront of my awareness, taking a few minutes in the morning to pause, breathe deeply, and place my awareness on the presence of God. I feel energized and strengthened. I expect all good things. As the day progresses, I pause again for a moment or two and affirm, God and I are one. I have faith that God, my source, is with me in everything I think, say, and do. At night, I look back on the events of the day and savor the moments in which God's presence felt especially strong. I have faith that awakening from a restful night's sleep, hearing a kind remark, enjoying time in nature, or spending quality time with a loved one are always ways to feel the presence of God within and around me. And they shall stand every morning, thanking and praising the Lord, and likewise at evening. 1 Chronicles 23:30. And there's daily words at the back. There's March back there as well, because we are about to march into March. Our chaplain today is Glenn, serving again for us. Then I invite you to prepare for meditation.
Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. And I'm through crying, and I'm through wanting, and I'm through hoping against all hope. And I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. Although I'm grieving, I'm through dreaming. The life I had is never coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that's not meant for me. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. To do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. Everything new, I'll be everything new.
Let us take a breath in to the newness of this day. And exhaling out any lower or slower energies, vibrations, or thoughts. As we allow our bodies to relax into the chair, dropping our shoulders, softening the muscles in our neck and our jaw, and just allowing our mind, our body, our spirit to become receptive. Receptive to the small, still voice within. That voice of truth, that voice of wisdom, that voice of kindness and love. And take still a deeper breath in, and just letting go on the exhale. And I invite you to put all of your attention on your eyes, your beautiful eyes that support you, guide you, keep you safe. And open to the energy of spirit, and affirm quietly, I open my eyes to see what spirit is showing me. And now I invite you to put all of your attention on your ears. The ears that allow you to hear a loved one's voice, the joy of music, the singing of birds. I invite you to open to spirit, to hear with the ear behind the ear, all that is yours to know. I invite you now to drop all of your attention into your heart, your beautiful heart, breathing into your heart space, the heart that beats a rhythm of life, of love, of well-being. I invite you to open to Spirit's heart behind the heart, its wisdom, its grace, its love. This day, to feel what is yours to feel. As we rest in the silence. Let us take another deep cleansing breath in. And just exhaling. Allowing our minds and our bodies to come fully back into the room. Wiggling your fingers and toes. And when it is comfortable to do so, opening your eyes. Namaste. I was so into my own meditation, I was completely ready to go to the next thing. Well, if you know me, I like to take up space, so that's what's going on. Can we give it up again for Leilani and Birdsong? I did not know you could play a book. I had no idea. You learn something new every day, don't you? I'm so grateful to be back. I have so much love for this special community. You are so beautiful, so amazing, and thank you for keeping the light on here of truth, of a loving God, of the power of community. And can we also thank Susan for stepping up? Yes, thank you so much. So today we're going to get into a little bit of shadow work, but don't be afraid. I promise you're going to get something really great out of it. I remember when I decided to do a talk on the shadows. And the way a lot of my talk development works is I get a little inkling, a little whisper of something, and I'm like, I guess I need to do a talk on the shadows. And I found myself in a bookstore magically. I don't even know I was there. But of course, while I was there, I must find another book because I don't have enough. Anybody? I think I was returning books is what was happening. And I went to one of the shelves and I saw this little book and I could see the spine and it said, "Let Your Life Speak." And I thought, ooh, I like the title. I pull it out. I can't make this up because it's just too good. I opened the book right to the page, you just random open to the page that talks about the 3 shadows. And I read it and I was hooked. And I'm like, this is my talk. And you get to hear that talk today. Who's heard of Parker Palmer? He's the author. If you've never read a Parker Palmer book, you got to get one. This is a good one. This one, Let Your Life Speak, really talks about marrying up the internal life of your spirit with the vocation or service or work you do in the world. He's very deep. He's a spiritual leader, a social activist. He does so many incredible things. And so the title of today's talk is The Gift of the 3 Shadows. So who would like more freedom, support, clarity? Anyone? Anyone? Got to name it to claim it? Well, that's what you're going to get. These are some of the gifts that we're going to go through as I go through the talk today. There we go. So the first shadow we're going to talk about is insecurity about our identity and worth. We had mentioned the inner critic a second ago, and believe it or not, there are 7 types of inner critic. I know, one's bad enough. 7 types. There's a whole dialogue that's going on, and this voice when it's loud and splashy. That voice, that one that says, "Who are you?" or "You made a mistake last time," or "Don't shine your light, don't be too bright." It's always trying to keep us safe, but at the same time, it's using some fear, some shame, some blame to do it. And that can get us stuck in life. And that part of ourselves actually lives in our shadow, and we're going to unpack that. The other one, and I love this one, is our own over self-reliance. There's some beliefs going on in the shadow that we got to do it all ourselves. And as metaphysicians, we tend to have that going on a little bit. I'm just going to take care of it myself. I'm going to pray it away. I don't need anyone, right? Sometimes we do that. The last shadow is, I think, one of the most powerful shadows we can look at that can enrich in our life the most. And that is our denial of death or transition. And we're going to talk a little bit about the gifts that it has for living a deeper and richer life. So we can look at these with a sense of hope and a sense of that the light and the shadow dance together, that there's a whole self that we can look at and embrace in ways that are empowering. So why talk about the shadow self? Because there's some truth that we push down, that we hide away, that we don't want to look at. But it's still active, right? Law of mind is always out picturing. You know, and we see this in many anecdotal ways, right? We see people that win the lottery and lose the money in a year. Anybody ever hear that? And you always say, if I won the lottery, that wouldn't be me. We always say that. But there's something in the shadow that's repelling that level of abundance. You know, in the Gospel of John, they say it this way. They say, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But we got to be willing to look at all the truth. Carl Jung says, this is how Carl Jung puts it, he says, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That's how we expand the light of enlightenment. In fact, it was Carl Jung who coined the phrase shadow self to represent the things we repress, that we do not want to acknowledge that's going on in our consciousness. We hide those parts of ourself away because we want to belong. We want to be accepted. We want to be loved. But if we can't love and accept those parts, as well as the shiny parts, there's always going to be a part of us not loving us. In fact, you know, I like to think of the shadow self as the junk drawer of our consciousness. Anyone have the junk drawer in the kitchen, you know, where the rubber bands and the zip ties and everything kind of end up? That's also where we put our failures, our limiting beliefs, our fears, our parts of our consciousness or identity that we feel will be rejected for. We just shove those down. So it's important in this shadow work, we're not here to eliminate our shadow, because you can't have light without shadow, right? Brighter light, bigger shadow. And some of the biggest lights that we've known have went through the deepest, darkest shadows in our world. Any Wayne Dyer fans? Yeah, love me some. He put me on this path, by the way. You can blame him for this. You know, he went through addiction. He went through some shadows to bring the big light that is him into the world. So I want to offer you a bridge between your shadow and your light, that it's both and. We can be both and. You could be a minister and get divorced, right? You know, it doesn't mean we don't still have our human self, right? But we can own it all. Because if we resist those parts that we threw in the junk drawer of our consciousness, what we resist persists. What we resist persists. And here's the thing, that junk drawer, stuff starts coming out of, right? It starts coming out. It comes out on our spouse, our family, our community. I don't know about you, but sometimes I've heard things come out of here I didn't even know who that was, right? And it's the shadow self coming up. Because we need to see it so we can love it, so we can heal it. Here's what Stephen Levine says. He says, to heal is to touch with love that which we previously touched with fear. So if we're going to heal ourselves, if we're going to be the wholeness and the light that we can bring to the world, we got to look at some of those parts of ourselves that we're afraid to look at. And, you ever wonder, like, how to know when your shadow self is popping up? One thing you can look for is patterns. The environment might change, but the pattern's still running. You ever heard the saying, everywhere you go, there you are? Yeah, I had this experience. I remember I was working for a city back in my recreation career, and I remember when I got the job, I was so excited. I got promoted. I went to this new city. I thought I was all that. And my coworkers informed me I was not. And I thought, these people don't get me. These people don't get me. And it was them, right? They're mean. They're judgy. They don't give me a chance, right? So I went and got myself a new job. I'm like, I go to this new job, and I'm like, these are my people. These are my people. And then a year later, I'm like, these people don't get me. And then I'm like, what's the common denominator? It was me. I had some things going on that I had pushed down into my shadow self. Some belief system where I was really talking at people and manipulating and moving things around that I thought was going to make for a good outcome, rather than being with my team, elbow to elbow, right? I was gerrymandering, right? Nobody likes that. And it doesn't build unity, but I had to heal that. I had to be willing to look at it so that I could heal it and do better. And that's all it is. It's not shame or blame. Just looking at it, heal it and do better. That's all it is. How about reactive moments? You ever say something innocent to someone and they just lose their mind and you don't know why? You probably just got some of the junk drawer dumped on you. You thought it was innocent, you thought it was safe, and then you don't really know. We don't know what people are going through. We don't know their journey, right? And because we don't know people's journey and we don't know what they're going through, we have to assume innocence on some part. Because hurt people hurt people. That's what I know. And when I run into an unkind moment, I try to lean in even more with a little bit of love, because that's the only thing that's going to heal it. Judgment isn't going to heal it. Beating people up isn't going to heal it. If it worked, we'd have a healed world, yes? So looking for those reactive moments where something happens and your reaction doesn't match what the situation is. There's something going on in your shadow self, something that needs your attention and that needs healing. The other one is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. I have a friend who keeps meeting these great people to date, and at the beginning they're always great, and then she finds some trivial thing about them and just ends it. And what I see about her sabotaging her desire and need for love is that there's fear of intimacy, that if she keeps going in relationships, she's going to get hurt. That's what's in the shadow self. See, that self-sabotage is speaking to us. There's something in there. The other place it shows up in money. Who wants $1 million, $2 million, $5 million? Anyone name it to claim it? Yeah, we all want to be rich. But what if we believe secretly that rich people are mean or not nice or stingy? Now we got something in there that's working against what we're trying to achieve. So this is really, really rich work that we can do. So let's start with shadow number one, this insecurity, this identity of worthiness. When we go to a cocktail party, we love handing out our labels. Or maybe it's not if you don't drink. Maybe it's just a birthday party. But you meet people, and they say, who are you? And you'll say things, right? I'm a grandfather, a grandmother, I'm a teacher. We'd start handing out our labels, right? But that's not who we are. We're so much more than any of those roles that we identify with. And the trouble is with the roles is that when the role's gone, then we're gone. I think that's why retirement is such a struggle for so many. When you've spent so many years being whatever it is, fill in the blank, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, a custodian, whatever it is, when you're not that anymore, who are you? So we hang on to those labels because we don't want to look back there, because there's fear that if we look back there, we might see something we don't want to see. And you notice we never hand out the not so shiny labels. Addict, black sheep, right? Whatever it is, that's not so shiny that's going on in our lives. And because we hide ourselves, parts of ourselves, then we walk around each thinking that the other person is better than us. But if we could all look in each other's junk drawers, we'd see we're just all human, trying to do the best that we can do. I love what Gail Brenner says. She says, there is something that plagues so many of us, and it breaks my heart. Call it low self-esteem, shame, or the inner critic. It doesn't matter what the name is. What matters is that we secretly feel unworthy, and we are afraid to take the risk to let others see us as we are. As we are. And then what happens is we become a mental prisoner of the shadow self. See, if we want real freedom, we got to be willing to be authentic in the light and the shadow. You know, I remember when I discovered I was ADD, attention divinely divided. Anyone in my camp? Anyone? Yeah, that was shocking, actually. But it explained so many things about me that I had shame around. Starting projects, yes. Finishing them, not so much. And then I ascribed all kinds of things, like I don't have enough willpower, I'm lazy, right? That inner dialogue, that isn't what was going on. I'm just non-neurotypical. That's it. And then when I was really willing to dig in about what was going on, I have a problem with dopamine. And when I focused on generating dopamine, and there are ways to do it, I'm able to focus. Had nothing to do with me being worthy or good or bad or lazy or any of those things. Anyone know anyone who's ADD? Anyone know anyone? I'm going to give you gold right now. Here's what I learned. Here's what people with ADD, ADHD brains need. They need one of 5 things to do anything. And you can remember the acronym INCUP. I-N-C-U-P. I stands for it needs to be innovative. Then I can find the dopamine. It needs to be novel, challenging, urgent, or personal. I would never let anyone down. I will move mountains. I will find all kinds of dopamine to help you. My bedroom, straightening up, not so much. Filing, anything mundane, no, it's like kryptonite. And it doesn't make sense to people. And then they start judging me for it. So you know what I do? I just tell on myself. I say, I'm ADD, yeah, I'm terrible at filing. And I accept it, and my acceptance helps people with their acceptance. See, when we've met ourselves, anybody met yourself? I'll say, I've met myself. That filing is not happening. Can we hire somebody? Like, I know. I just know. And I don't beat myself up anymore. And you don't need to either. Once we're willing to embrace those parts that we've shoved down for so long. Because it's the acceptance of the whole self that brings the ease and the peace and the serenity. And here's the bonus gift. When you embrace your whole self and you're willing to show up authentic, so is everybody else. You give permission to show the lumps and the bumps and the wrinkles and not feel judged, but feel like you have the love and support of community. And then we're all set free. Let's talk about shadow number 2, over-reliance of self. Anyone ever watch Monty Python's, Morty Author Knight? And the knight's fighting the one knight, and he loses an arm, and he's like, I'm still going. And then he loses another arm. I will bite you. Like, he just wouldn't stop. He should have stopped or got help, like 911. But we think sometimes we laugh, but sometimes that's us emotionally, right? We can be a caricature of that as well. I want to read a little piece from the book here, the part that really grabbed me. In Parker Palmer's book, he says, a shadow common among leaders, which we're all leaders in spirit, yes, is functional atheism, the belief that ultimate responsibility for everything rests with us. This is the unconscious, unexamined conviction that if anything decent is going to happen here, we are the ones who must make it happen. A conviction held even by people who talk a good game about God. Functional atheism. You know, and I've run into this myself because I'm stubborn. I think I've got to do it all. I've got to be the example rather than ask for help. I remember one Sunday, it was actually the Sunday before the first time I gave this talk. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't. I was feeling down. I wasn't feeling my shiny self. And I didn't want to go. I wanted to hide. I didn't want anyone to see that. But I also knew that going to church is where my medicine was. It's what was going to open me up, lift my spirits. Because here's what I know about us, metaphysically speaking, is we tend to be so self-reliant. When we're feeling that way, we don't want to go. Anybody ever not go or show up because, yeah, I don't want nobody to see this hot mess. But this is where our medicine is. See, we need each other to feel more whole. And we know there's a power for good and we can use it. But we can also let this power for good use us, show up for us. It's a reciprocal relationship. We live in an interdependent universe. The flower and the bee, they need each other. That's by divine design. We need each other so that we can care enough about each other so that we survive. It was built in to the system. Because if we only cared about ourselves and no one else, that could cause extinction. See the brilliance in that? Turn to somebody and say, I need you. Right now, look at them. Say, I need you. Turn to somebody else. I need you. I need you. I need your smile. I need your presence. I need your wisdom. I need your laughter. I need your music. We need each other. We heal each other. We're a mirror for each other. And trying to do it alone is causing suffering we just don't need. I love this story about, he became a multimillionaire, but starting out, he was rejected by the love of his life. He wanted to marry her, but she wouldn't marry him. You know why? He had no money. He's broke. And she wasn't going to marry him because he was broke. So you know what he did? He went out and built businesses, made money, bought big houses, cars, boats. And when that stuff wasn't bringing him the happiness and the peace he wanted, he went out and bought even bigger houses and boats. He bought the Seattle Seahawks. Thought that would do it. Then he started big game hunting in Africa. Something was going to fill his cup with connection and love. And he was going to do it himself. And then there was a group, I think it was a Mormon group, that sent wheelchairs to war-torn places. And they knew about this millionaire that he flew over to Africa, but that he had to stop in Kosovo. And they asked him if he would bring wheelchairs in his plane and drop them off along the way. And he said, sure. So they loaded up his very large plane, private plane, with the wheelchairs. And when they landed, he got out and he was helping hand out the wheelchairs to the war refugees. And this one young man who had lost both legs to a landmine received the wheelchair, and he said, wait. The young man said, don't go. And he was grabbing his leg. And he goes, I want to look at your face. So when I see you in heaven again, I can thank you again. Something changed in him in that moment. He felt a sense of humanity and connection. He found finally what he was looking for. And he started using his resources and influence. He actually has, I think it's the Red Wheelchair program now, where he goes all over the world helping people with resources. That's what filled his cup. But he was so fixed on, I'm going to do it. It's out there. And that's easy to believe sometimes. Yes, we all do it. I do it, right? But what he really wanted was to have that sense of connection and interdependence, and that they were helping him in a way that none of that stuff could. See, there is no such thing as a self-made person. It's a lie. Breathe yourself all day today. Good luck with that. Breathe. Don't stop. No, we have a power, an essence, a presence that's loving us so much. It's beating our heart. It's breathing us. It's waking us in the morning. There's so much we don't do that happens for us. You know, it's funny to me, whenever we have problems, don't you notice sometimes the last thing we do is pray? When it really could be the first thing we do. And I challenge you to do that, to think about it. And the last shadow I want to talk about is the denial of death. You know, the thing is, we have many beginnings and endings, right? I said goodbye to my 40s when I turned 50, right? I ended a relationship about 10 months ago. That was hard. And then 3 months later, I found the love of my life, and I'm engaged. So, you know, life is always going to be this series, this sine wave. And it isn't so much to get caught up by the peaks and sad and the lows, but to surf. To know that there's an intelligence to the unfolding of everything that happens in our life, even if we don't understand it. But the trouble is, as Buddha says, the trouble is we think we have time. And we don't. Ultimate transition and embracing this reality that all things end, including our journey on life, can bring so much richness to the journey. Confucius says, we have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. And I remember the moment I realized that I only had one life. I was in practitioner studies, and for Centers for Spiritual Living, it's a 2-year process. The first year, you get to look at your life for a whole year about how life got to be the way it is. All of it, through spiritual principle. And one exercise we had to do was we had to write our eulogy. And I'm like, no problem. I can do this. I can write my eulogy. And then you had to write out who's in there and everything. I'm like, yes. And I'm like, oop. Wait a minute. I don't know who's in the room. In fact, I don't even know who would put it on. My life was so bankrupt, I didn't see it. And you want to know who's actually in the room? When I got to that point, it was a few obligated family members that I didn't talk to, and a couple exes, that's it. I couldn't even finish the assignment. Because in that moment, I got a glimpse of my shadow. That I'd been living my life just for me and no one else. I was devastated. I had a crisis of consciousness and heart that I needed to have. I went and found a practitioner the next Sunday, and we prayed. I had to tell her, I have no friends. I have no real friends. And I'm estranged from my family. I don't have anybody. And she prayed for me, and she did a session, and then afterwards, she invited me to lunch because she wanted me to have a friend, which I thought was really wonderful. And I changed. In that moment, I changed. I began to show up and see whatever I could do. Want me to do the cookies? I'll do the cookies. You want me to pray? I'll pray. You want me to do a fundraiser? I'll do a fundraiser. I became the friend I wanted to have. And I remember a year later, I was walking past that same practitioner, and I said, Liz, you never guess what? I have so many friends. I have 2 a.m. friends. I have work friends. I have church friends. My life was so full a year later. But what if I'd never seen that shadow? What if I never took that inventory of the one life that I have? So I want to close with a little Gospel of Thomas. And I never really understood what this quote meant until I put this talk together. And the Gospel of Thomas says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And I believe that the Gospel of Thomas is really talking about not just our light, not just our heart-centered projects and things we know that we bring into the world, but what we're holding in the darkness that's keeping us playing small, that's eating away our one life, one fear, one doubt at a time. You know, a heart can keep beating and we're not living. It's a whole different experience. And I think that's what this gospel is pointing to. It's telling us to look in those shadows, those pushed down beliefs and thoughts and judgments and unforgiveness. Look at it all and bring it forth to the light of truth, the truth that will set you free. The truth that you are wonderfully made, that you are a good idea in the mind of God. That this presence beats your heart and wakes you every day and goes out before you and prepares the way. When we really get that, we can't be afraid anymore. And we get just how precious and beautiful we are. And when we lean into this presence and ask for help, ask for support, know that we have a senior partner, and that senior partner comes through the form sometimes of a good friend who's willing to listen and care because we showed up and asked for help. And when we lean deeply into this one life, that it's shorter than we think, and that time is the most precious thing we have, and that we lean into what is mine to do that I haven't done yet. All the clarity we need to make the decision about how we spend our money, our time, our talents, becomes clear, because something is either very important or it's not important at all when we look at it through the lens of this one life. So it is my prayer that you lean in to those places that you've been resisting. Call them forth with some love and kindness, and partner with the divine to heal it, to see it, and to love it. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There we go.
Call you when I need you, hearts on fire. You come to me, wild and wild. When you come to me, you give me everything I need.
Thank you, Leilani and Birdsong.
Welcome.
And thank you, Reverend Mitch. Thank you so much for coming.
Amazing.
This is our offering time, so if you would take what you have to give, hold it in your hands and in your heart. We'll bless it together, please. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
So I gratefully receive these gifts for unity stocked in knowing that these gifts go on, pressed down and multiplied to circulate in and through and as the world and its love that it's been given with the peace, the grace, the wisdom, the good heart. I release this word and we say amen.
Amen.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With